Hello, everybody. Welcome to Key Tips for Healthcare Travelers when Securing Housing. We appreciate your joining us. My name is Steve Curtin. I'm the president of Vital Housing. We have Stephanie Angelino, our marketing director, and we have Taylor Maibach, VP of Strategic Partnerships. We're going to get started in just a minute and let a few people join us here, probably running a little bit late, so we'll give them another couple of minutes and then we'll get started. But we're very pleased to have you all join us today. All right, why don't we get started again? Welcome to 10 Key Tips for Healthcare Travelers when Securing Housing. My name is Steve Curtin. I'm the president of Vital Housing. We have Stephanie Angelino, our director of marketing here, who's in the control room. And we have Taylor Maibach, who is VP of Strategic Partnerships at Vital Housing. It's great for you to join us. We hope we provide you with some useful and helpful information, whether you're a seasoned traveler or whether you are just beginning your healthcare travel journey. This session is designed to give you some tips to help you along your travel journey here, particularly around housing, which is an incredibly important part of the healthcare traveler experience. We're very pleased to be partnering with White Glove Placement in this webinar, and we appreciate the opportunity to speak to you all. What we're going to do is we're going to run through probably about 15 to 20 minutes of content here. And then we are going to give people the ability to ask us questions through chat. We are going to record this session as well, and White Glove will be presenting this to their travelers through a variety of channels. So why don't we get started here? So Stephanie, if you want to go to the first slide, just want to briefly tell you about us. We are Vital Housing. We are the only midterm fully furnished rental platform that specifically is built for healthcare travelers. Among the other things that we do, we basically making sure that we provide you with verified hosts. Obviously, we accommodate 13 plus week stays. All of the homes and platforms and so forth on our platform, all the housing on our platform is fully furnished. And we try and provide you with housing that is near or has close proximity to hospitals. We provide 24/7 traveler support. And we also provide all of the travelers that book on our platform with special perks. So we have partnerships with Fig Scrubs. We provide a free pair of scrubs when people book on our platform. We work with nurse.com to provide free CEs to people that book on our platform. And we just did a partnership with BetterHelp. And BetterHelp is the online mental health support organization. And you get, for those that book on our platform, you get free support with one-on-one counseling and free access to their tools and groups. So definitely would love you guys to check us out. You can follow us on social or go to vitalhousing.com and see what we have to offer in terms of fully furnished housing. Just a brief point on my background. I have been involved with healthcare and healthcare staffing and healthcare travel for just about 20 years. Worked with a number of different firms and online communities. Most recently, I came over to Vital Housing from an organization called the Gypsy Nurse, which some of you might be familiar with. The Gypsy Nurse is the largest online platform for healthcare traveler support. So that's a bit about my journey. Taylor, why don't you give folks an idea of your background? You've got a long background in housing and fully furnished housing.
Yeah. So prior to actually starting with Vital, I worked in the corporate housing space. A lot of the travelers that we hosted were traveling nurses. So I'm excited to give a little bit of background on, the hosting side and some tips for you. So super excited to talk to you guys today.
Excellent. Well, Stephanie, why don't you go to the first slide here? And the first piece of information we would like to pass along. So as you begin your healthcare travel journey or you begin your next assignment, really the first tip that we have, and it may seem obvious, but people often wait till the last minute, start searching early. You really should begin your housing search as soon as you get your contract, ideally 4 to 6 weeks before your start date. We would actually recommend, Taylor and I would recommend that as you start looking at different contract options, you think you're going to be taking your next travel assignment in a particular city or particular region or state or what have you, start to do the search early. Why is that? Because many of these rental opportunities can go very, very quickly, particularly if they are near facilities or in, key areas that other travelers might want to, come on board to, or in some cases, you may have other people competing for the same properties, whether it is, vacationers or digital nomads or what have you. So it's very important to start your search early. I don't think you can start too early. Even if you're in the middle of a contract and you're thinking about your next contract and where you want to go, you really should start doing your search early. Most platforms, ours included, you have the ability to favorite a property or what have you. So start to get an idea of what you're looking for, obviously what your price range is going to be, where you want to be, the neighborhoods that you want to be in. I don't think it's ever too soon to start early and do a bit of research in advance, particularly around peak travel seasons. We have Q1 coming up now, so you're getting a lot of travelers that are starting to look at next year, and they're starting to look at post-holiday. Where do they want to be? If you want to be in a hot spot, a lot of people like to go south. They're going to go Miami. They're going to go to Orlando or what have you to get out of the cold weather. Because you're getting competition from other areas, you want to start your search early. So, Taylor, I don't know, you've got some experience in there as well with some past property dealings. So, would love to add your 2 cents there as well.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm based out of Denver, so seasonality is big here. A lot of people are going to be traveling to Colorado to, see do the hiking in the summertime, be able to have all those summer activities. And working with corporate housing, summertime was slammed for us. We were maintaining over 90% occupancy. Most hosts are. So to Steve's point, booking as soon as you can, especially if you're trying to get those summer months, it's extremely important.
Yep. Research, research, research. Know what you're doing, know what you're looking for, know what you have in mind. Again, even if it's several weeks in advance, don't wait till the last minute. Sometimes it's, you can get that contract, but then it's hard to find an appropriate place to stay. So start your searching early. Tip number two. So here we go, but plan your budget. And we're taking a little bit of a different angle on this. I mean, obviously you have your budget and so forth that you will be keeping in mind when it comes to what you are going to be securing for housing. I mean, in some respects, that's an obvious. You kind of know what you can work with based on what your contract has and so forth. But in my experience, again, I come from about 20 years in healthcare staffing and online communities and working with the Gypsy Nurse organization. What people don't often take into consideration is the ancillary budget. So, as an example, right, and particularly now, let's face it, prices are high across the board for food and so forth. You need to plan your budget, plan your weekly meals. One of the advantages of working with midterm fully furnished housing is you're usually going to have access to some sort of kitchen or cooking facility or what have you. Take that into consideration when you're planning your budget. We all know it's very expensive to eat out. And if you think that, it's just going to be a matter of you're going to grab a bite to eat, whenever you can, that's going to add up and that's going to eat into your overall budget, your expenses, and it's going to make your healthcare travel experience less profitable. So make sure that you are planning accordingly with your food budget. Obviously, it's not realistic to think that you're going to be, cooking every single meal. But I think if you factor in, your weekly shopping budget, your, shopping and with frugality in mind, you take advantage of your kitchen, all of that stuff adds up. The other thing you should budget for is fun. To think that I mean, one of the reasons that most people travel is to go different places, while they're on their travel assignments and see different things, see different cities and so forth, different cultural events, concerts, pubs, what have you, right? You're going to need to factor that into your budget as well. You should have a fun line item in your budget. It's not realistic to think that you're just gonna come home and not do anything or not do anything on the weekends or at nights. Obviously, people are busy, they're tired, but you need to factor in some fun. You deserve it. We know that travel healthcare is a very difficult job, and people should factor in fun and put some money aside to have some fun and see things and do different things. You're going to be meeting friends, hopefully, while you're on assignment. You're going to be going out with friends. You may have friends that visit you. So you're going to want to factor all of those sorts of things when it comes into budgeting. So it's not just budgeting from, well, what do I have to work with from a housing budget, but what are the other things that you are going to be doing? And if you plan your budget appropriately, you're going to obviously, maximize your overall, contract and contract expenses. So Taylor, I don't know if you have any other tips that you might want to remind people of, but those are some of the things that come to top of mind.
Yeah, yeah, and I think one, if you're traveling in a big city, what is the parking situation looking like? I think that's huge to point
Mhm.
out because some of these hosts they'll have street parking, and that's not always the most fun situation, especially if you're trying to get somewhere at a certain time. So is the parking additional to the stay? Especially if you're traveling with another person, is there two spots? What's the cost of that? What's the cost of another set of keys? So there's some things you may not think about until you're actually there. So just considering those costs as well, I think are important.
Great point. Great point. Okay, Stephanie, tip number three. All right. So this gets into the aspect of advanced planning. And it also has some connection points here with budget and so forth. But as you're planning your next journey, as you're planning your next contract, as you're looking for housing, um, research the neighborhood. Okay. We know sometimes people can kind of get caught up in, well, what the inside of the apartment looks like, or the inside of the home and so forth, or the rental property. But just as important is what's around you. And there's lots of different tools that you can use. I won't go into all of them. Obviously, there's many different online tools you can use to understand a particular area relative to its safety and commute times and so forth. Our site, we do have a neighborhood rating system in terms of safety and other things relative to what's around it. But, check out the neighborhood in advance. So you want to look at the commute times, the amenities around you. Is there a grocery store, going back to budget? Is there a grocery store that's going to be available for you? A point that Taylor brought up the other day. As we were putting this slide deck together was gyms. Many people obviously while they're traveling, they're going to want to work out. You don't want to have your fitness routine interrupted. So are there gyms near you? Will that gym accept your memberships? I know there are some national gym organizations. You have the YMCA and other big chains. If you have a membership to one gym organization in your hometown or the town you're traveling from, are there gyms around you that will accept your membership so you don't have to, buy into another membership? Check out obviously the facilities you're working at. How far away is it from where you're staying? Is there public transportation available, which is ideal? Can you walk it? So all of those sorts of things. It's not just about the facility you're going to be staying at, the rental property you're going to be staying at. Obviously, that's really important, but what's around it? Go into this with your eyes open, understand the neighborhood, understand the part of the city or wherever you're going to be. Get an idea of what is around you. That can make all the difference in the world. The worst thing is you get surprised. You get there and you find out there are no local grocery stores. It's a 15-minute drive. There's no gyms. You're not as close to the hospital as you thought. All of those sorts of things can really impact your experience.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, it's a lot of these people they're traveling for it could be across the country to somewhere they've never been that they're excited to check out. So releasing some of those friction points and having those tools to be able to kind of get the most in-depth idea of where you're going to stay is huge.
All right, Stephanie. Tip number four. I feel like I'm on the old David Letterman top 10 list. All right, as we specifically talk about the properties, Make sure you understand what is included in the property that you are renting. And again, this may seem obvious, but it's something that people oftentimes we hear over the years. For this many times, they get surprised. Okay. Make sure that your property includes the essentials. As an example, on our site, Vital Housing, the landlord will have a checklist, if you will, of things that they provide and things that they don't provide. So whatever site you're on or wherever you're looking, make sure you understand what's provided or what isn't provided. A very important point is a washing machine and a dryer. That saves people expenses, convenience, and so forth. If it's not included or it's not convenient, that's very important, obviously, for healthcare traveler. Wi-Fi, where is the Wi-Fi located? Are they providing, a Wi-Fi? You would think that most rental properties do, but again, that's something to check. Bedding and linens. That should be something that they provide, but maybe they provide a limited amount. But maybe people travel with their own pillows. They have their special pillow that they want. They have neck problems or what have you. Think about bringing your own bedding or pillows or what have you. So read the property description. Make sure you understand it. If you're on a platform, communicate with the host and ask them. If you're not sure, ask the questions. Again, I think the biggest thing about some of these messages is don't be surprised. The worst thing is you go somewhere, you book something, and you are surprised. Communicate in advance, research in advance, make sure that you don't assume anything, make sure it's verified, read the property description. Taylor, anything from your experiences
No, I mean
no?
that's really it. Amenities is a big one. There could be photos on a listing that you see and that may not be included. So confirming that those are all there. Like I said before, the parking, the key situation, fobs if you lose one, what's the extra cost of a fob? So having
Mhm.
that all in there and then really not being afraid to ask the host if there's anything else. So a lot of times they'll have their own list of stocking. So maybe if you wanted to really get into like the more granular details of what kind of soap they're using, all of that. A lot of times they'll have a list. So don't be afraid to communicate, ask those questions because oftentimes there's a little bit more than what's on the listing.
Great point. And also, too, as healthcare travelers, all you guys know, you're going to be there for 13 weeks. You could be there for 26 weeks. That's half a year. You're going to want to make sure that you're comfortable, that you, again, understand what's included, what isn't included. Because the worst thing is you get there, you're surprised, and you're like, I've got to deal with this for 13 weeks. It wasn't what I thought. I'm not prepared. So that's very, very important. All right, Stephanie. Tip number 5. Okay. So this is where big area of focus. And in my experience in working with staffing firms and online communities for healthcare travelers, this is really a key differentiator relative to your overall experience. You got to make sure the landlord is vetted, okay? Um, whether you're on our platform or another platform, whatever you're using, make sure the landlord is vetted. In particular, if you are not working off of a verified platform, like ours as an example, and you're going direct, may sound great. You may think that, oh, it's gonna be a little bit more convenient, you can get a great deal or whatever, but it's very risky. And I can't tell you in my 20 years of working with healthcare travel and travel communities, unfortunately, how many scams I've seen, and some of them can be incredibly um, inventive and devious, particularly with AI now. It's amazing the scams that can be perpetrated. Why anybody would want to perpetrate a scam on a healthcare traveler is beyond me. It's awful. You guys are healthcare heroes, and for anybody to scam somebody in healthcare is just unconscionable. Unfortunately, it's done and it's done all the time. But it's really more the purview of when you go direct. There are lots of housing groups out there, people offering housing. They say they're going to give you a great deal or whatever. You just have to be very, very careful and very aware of what you're getting into. If people are coming to you on one of these groups, or you're going direct, and somebody is asking for a wire transfer, or cash in advance, or doing a transfer or cutting a check, whatever it is, that is a big red flag. If you're on a platform, the platform transactions should stay on the platform. Don't go off platform. Just if something sounds, the old saying goes, if something sounds too good to be true, it usually is. And again, love you to use our platform, but whatever platforms there are out there for housing, that's really the preferred route, is stay on a verified known platform versus going direct. So Taylor, I know you have a lot of experience in this area, so I'd love for you to add some additional commentary as well.
Yeah, and I'll even go back to the first point, which is planning ahead. Don't get into a situation where you feel like you need to book something immediately. That's the last thing you want to do because you never know. You could book something, do an instant book or whatever the case is, and you start talking to that host and it doesn't feel comfortable. Making sure you're booking ahead, having time to talk to that host, feeling them out, because at the end of the day, they're going to be your landlord for the foreseeable future. So having time to talk to them, making sure that they're responsive, because if something was to happen, let's just say a leak in the wintertime, which is rare, but it happens, you want to make sure that host is going to be on top of it immediately. So I think that's a good point to bring up. And not only are you vetting the landlord, you're vetting the platform. And what is that platform doing for you? How is their support? We do have the Traveler in Trouble program, so if someone's locked out in the middle of the night, we'll take that extra step and book a place for them. So we have 24-hour support, and just knowing that if that host isn't there for you, the platform is, gives that extra layer of comfort that I think is great to have.
Yeah, and it's so again, the if you're working with a platform again such as ours, the landlords are all vetted. We have a very stringent vetting policy. This is background searches and ID checks and all that stuff. If you go direct with somebody, you don't have that.
Yeah.
Uh, so again, it's the most important thing here is, we care about you guys. We don't want you to get scammed. Unfortunately, there are people that will perpetrate these scams, and there's really no recourse. Once the money's gone, it's gone. You're out the money, and you're also don't have a place to live. So just be very aware of the process. All right, Stephanie, tip number 6. Okay. Similar to what you would do for a travel contract, when you are booking, you want to make sure that you read the policies. Every platform has a policy relative to what's you need to pay and when you need to pay it. Are there deposit terms, refunds? Again, things like utilities included, so that kind of the aspects of it that you want to dig into. You just want to make sure that you are fully aware and you have read the policies. Most platforms, before you can book, you have to agree to their policies. Just make sure that you are reviewing, just like you would any other contract or an agreement. I mean, it is a contract. So there is essentially a contract or an agreement between the platform and the host. You're going to want to make sure that you're aware of that. Cancellation policies can vary, so you want to make sure that you have full understanding of what you're getting into. Just always good to make sure you do the research. So that's kind of an obvious point. But again, people sometimes, to Taylor's point, you get in a rush and you don't really read and understand. And if something changes or happens, it's like, gee, I didn't know that. Well, most of the times that stuff is covered within the terms and conditions or the policies of the cancellation policies. So make sure you read things before you finalize. So Taylor, I don't know if you have anything else to say around that regard, but I know you have experience there as well in your housing days.
Yeah, no, I think you really hit everything on that. It's really just being thorough. taking your time, sitting down before you book, and just taking a moment to just digest everything on there and just feeling comfortable with it. That's really it at the end of the day.
Absolutely. All right, Stephanie, down to the last few here. Tip number 7. Okay. We touched on this before, but it really it deserves a section unto itself. Obviously, with what's involved in healthcare travel, you're supposed to be at a facility for a particular time, a particular shift, or what have you. Um, Depending on how you're getting there, you need to make sure that the commute is reasonable. It's just, it can be such a difference maker in your travel experience. Again, it might be the type of thing where you kind of get enthralled with a particular property, the way it looks or what have you. Maybe the price is right, but is it near where you're going to be working? And again, most people don't have the opportunity. This is not a remote work opportunity here. This is where you're going to need to be at the facility. So, is it you need to kind of gauge your commute time in advance, how you're going to get there. I mean, obviously, if you can book something, depending on where you're at, if the public transportation is an option, that's always great. Some people may be driving to their assignment, they're going to have their own car. Just map it out. Make sure that you're comfortable. Make sure that when you're booking, that the place is near the facility or reasonably near the facility. I think sometimes, again, people can kind of get enthralled with the particular look of a place or price or whatever. It may be a longer commute than they want. They say, well, I can deal with it. And then you get there and you say, oh, the traffic was actually awful. And it really creates over a 13-week time period when you have to be there a particular time, particular shift, and it's just not working out. That can just be a miserable experience. On our platform, we do try and map out where the facilities are or where the housing is relative to the facilities. So just make sure that you guys are mapping this out and that it's a reasonable commute. So we highly recommend that. So,
Yeah, and especially if you're looking to book in a big city, the hospital might look close, but with traffic, you're looking at a 30-45 minute drive to get there. So that's huge if you're looking at the cities, and then asking your host what the what the scooter situation is. A lot of these people travel without cars, so is there a scooter or city bike nearby? Or are they out there often so you could jump on one and ride it to your shift? So little things.
yep, yep, little things, but it can make a big
Yeah.
difference. All right, the last few here. Tip number 8. Okay. Another really important point. I know, Taylor, you've got a lot of experience here, but another really important point that people often forget. Um, let's face it, things can happen, right? Despite everybody's best intention, there may be an occasion where, something spills on a rug or something's damaged or whatever, and there's kind of a back and forth with the landlord. What we recommend everybody do is to inspect upon arrival, just kind of like when you rent a car. You do a walkthrough and make sure you're not driving a car that's been pre-damaged, then the rental company tries to ding you for a scratch or something like that. It's the same thing here. Okay. Vast majority of landlords very flexible, very understanding. But again, highly recommend you inspect the place upon arrival. Make sure I would go around, take pictures of key things, make sure the utilities work, make sure that the stove works, the microwave works, the TV works, all of those sorts of things. And if it doesn't, report it immediately. And that way, too, if there's any sort of controversy down the road, and 99.999% of the time it's not going to happen, but that one slim chance it does, you can say, hey, this was documented, or this was, I reported this when I got there. So it's very important to do that. It only takes about 5 minutes, but absolutely do it. It may save some headache down the road. Taylor, I don't know if you want to also
Yeah.
add to that as well.
I think this is probably one of the biggest things here is just taking the time. I know it might be tedious, but go through that checklist and go through everything, take videos, take pictures. and really just take the time to inspect everything, small details, big details, just and have that with you throughout your stay, just so things don't come up. It's easily avoidable. You know, you don't want to run into a situation where, you know, you're at the end of your stay and you're like, hey, by the way, I noticed this, and they're like, well, how, you know, it's just like it's good to have that extra documentation. So I would say absolutely, when you get there, first thing you should be doing before you even unpack is taking a video.
And also too, just by that inspection, if there is a problem, you go right to the landlord,
Yeah,
and 99.999% of the time, I say, gee, I'm really sorry about that. Didn't know the coffee maker was broken. Thank you for letting me know. I'll have a new one in tomorrow. Stove's not working. I will call the electrician, whatever
yeah.
it is. So that's what they're there for. All right, Stephanie, two more here. All right. Another very important one. Um, and this really is more of a holistic look at your healthcare travel journey and your travel housing experience. Personal safety is incredibly important. And we know, unfortunately, that people in healthcare and healthcare travel, are oftentimes, um, can be victims of violence or what have you. So, your personal safety is really, really important. Don't compromise your personal safety. I mean, a couple of things here. If you're traveling to a new area, many people will drive. I know healthcare travelers, travel nurses that have, driven from Boston to Los Angeles. It's a way they're bringing their car with them, so it gives them flexibility. It's a way to see, different aspects of the country. It's great. They don't want to discourage you from doing that, but let people know your travel plans, your travel information. You're traveling to a new area. I know with GPS and everything, it's a little bit different, but you can get lost, you get a flat tire, whatever it is, people should know where you are in your journey to and from a new area that you're staying at. If you are driving, make sure you're using a reliable vehicle. And I would strongly recommend get it checked by a mechanic before you go. Um, because again, you don't want to be stuck in the middle of Montana on your way from Boston to Seattle, and you don't have, you're stuck literally and figuratively, you're stuck. Make sure that you have a reliable vehicle, that the vehicle has been checked by a mechanic. Many mechanics will you just go in there and say, listen, I'm taking a 1,000-mile journey here. Would you just check it out? Make sure the oil's changed, stuff like that, tire pressure, all that stuff. Jumper cables, really, really, really important. Okay. The other thing that I would recommend is invest in a personal safety device. And there are different brands out there and so forth. I'm particularly partial to She's Birdie. You can find them on shesbirdie.com. It's a personal alarm, very simple to use. But it's a protection device. It has an alarm, it has a light. Some of them are connected to the internet, so it can tell if you're in trouble. So it's just some sort of personal safety device, I think is always a good idea. Make sure your cell is charged at all times. And that can be whether you're driving across country for your assignment or whether, frankly, you're just driving home from your shift. Make sure that your cell is charged at all times. Okay. The last point that I would make is that if you have a housing situation that doesn't work out, so you happen to arrive at a place and despite all your best efforts, it isn't what you thought it was. And again, 99.999% of the time, everything's fine, but could be a situation you get there and the facility or the rental place is not in a great area. You don't feel safe. You don't feel safe in that place. Get out. Don't wait and say, I'll give it another couple of nights and see what happens. Get out. It's not worth it. Usually trust your gut. And if something is wrong, get out of that situation. It's just not worth it. Most housing platforms, ours included, will have a traveler in trouble program. So if you get there and something happens, you just don't feel safe, you want to get out of there, you have the ability to, in our particular case, you can contact us and we will find a place for you to stay, no questions asked that same night. But so don't stay somewhere where you don't feel safe. Trust your gut. If something's not right, leave. Your personal safety is number one. So we got one more tip here, and then we can open up for a couple minutes for questions. I think we're coming up on about a half hour. Okay. Last thing, and maybe Taylor, you could speak to this, but it never hurts to get renter's insurance. Most of the hosts have insurance and so forth, but it never hurts to get renter's insurance. And what would renter's insurance involve? Usually, it's fairly inexpensive. That way, if something happens, a pipe burst or something like that, you lose your laptop or your clothes are stained through, a paint spill or something like that, it it gives you peace of mind so that you're covered. And it's usually they're relatively inexpensive. You can find them. There's a number of different insurance products out there are good, but definitely suggest you're going to be there for 13 weeks, 26 weeks potentially. It's worth getting the renter's insurance. So Taylor, if you want to wrap up with this one, but there's probably some good insight you have as well.
Yeah, I think it's just due diligence at the end of the day. There's platforms out there that you could look into that offer, like Steve said, pretty inexpensive options, and it's just another layer of protection for you. So that's it at the end of the day is just knowing that you have that peace of mind to go somewhere if something happens, you're covered.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that does it for our top 10 here, if you will. In the last few minutes, would like to open it up for questions. I think Stephanie, you're going to run the control board here. Happy to take any chat questions that any of you guys might have. Happy to spend another few minutes and see if there's anything else we can pass along or anything else we can help with. Stephanie, do we have any chat questions coming across?
Not as for now. I don't see any questions coming in.
Okay. Okay. Well, we'll give it, I want to encourage people to ask questions if you do have any. But I would like to take a step back and just say, on behalf of Vital Housing, thank you guys for what you do. Again, I've been involved with healthcare and healthcare travel for almost 20 years now. I am not a clinician. I have clinicians in my family, but I am not myself a clinician. I can tell you in 20 years of observation and being around healthcare staffing and healthcare communities and travel healthcare, I know it's a really, really tough job. I think that, hats off to anybody that's a healthcare provider or clinician. We know there's a lot of stress. We know that there's a lot of pressure, particularly for healthcare travelers. You're in a new environment, you're going in areas usually with high need, and there's a lot of pressure on you. You got to get up to speed right away on new policies and procedures. It can be very tough. We know it's a very rewarding journey as well, but also can be very difficult. So just wanted to say thank you guys for what you do. I know our organization appreciates you. And certainly we wish you well on your journeys. And again, I'd like to thank White Glove for partnering with us and giving us the ability to bring this information to you. We hope it's been helpful. Stephanie, any other questions that may have come in?
Yes,
I might have one. Okay.
yes. Is there a fee to use your service?
For Vital Housing, there is not a fee. We basically work with the hosts, and there is a service fee that they pay, but there is no fee other than what it would cost to book on our platform. So whatever the rent is, that you should be paying, but there is no fee. Thank you for that question. Anything else, guys? Again, happy to spend another couple of minutes if there's any other questions. Okay. Well, I think that does it. Again, we really hope that you have found this information helpful. Definitely would love you guys to check us out and would love to help you on your journey. But thank you again for White Glove Placement, for allowing us this opportunity today. And we wish you guys well. Seems like there's a couple
Yes,
couple of other questions
yes.
just before we wrap up here. Do you book in a hotel? we have on our particular platform, we have a variety of different rental opportunities. Some of them could be, hotels or smaller hotels. Some it could be private landlords. Some it could be larger corporate organizations. It really depends. We have a wide variety of different housing options, whether it's, from private to larger organizations. So really would depend on what you're looking for. And we have, how can I make sure I get pet-friendly housing? That should be on the host checklist. I know certainly on our platform, the host will give the ability to see whether or not, or indicate whether or not they are pet-friendly. And I believe that's one of the filterings that we do have on our site as well. So, yeah, that's a great question because we know a lot of travelers travel with pets.
Yeah,
So,
and to that point,
want
I
to make
think it's
sure.
good to ask your host about pet deposits as well. So asking those questions because they could be specific on the breeds with pet deposits. So if you have like a very shedding dog, like a husky or a golden retriever, there might be a little bit more of a cost. So just asking those questions up front.
Great point. Okay, any other questions? And thank you for those. Those were good. It looks like there's one other coming in here. Say Karen is asking, how do we get paid for our service? Vital Housing gets paid for our service by the hosts. So again, we don't pass that along to travelers. We get paid by the hosts. So when there is a booking, the host will pay us a percentage of that booking for the ability to list and provide housing to you guys. Okay. All right. Well, thank you everybody for your time. Again, we really appreciate it, and we hope we can help you out down the road. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.